It's Wednesday, December 20. This is the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. Cabinet has approved the long-awaited pilot project to retrofit some Jamaica Urban Transit Company buses to use liquefied natural gas. The announcement was made by Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Speaking this week at the launch of Red Stripe's new production line and LNG plant at its Spanish Town Road facility in Kingston, Mr. Holness explained that the pilot is expected to begin in the first quarter of next year, with 5 new LNG buses involved.
Mix fuels efficiency and economy. From the micro-entrepreneur to the large manufacturer, energy is a critical input. We must ensure that the thrust towards the provision of clean and affordable energy is given priority.
Holness pointed out that this is part of serious efforts by the government to achieve energy efficiency and, by extension, energy diversification, which will result in sustainable economic growth. He added that the government has carefully examined the tax structure to incentivize the use of LNG. He also noted that currently 18% of the country's energy production is based on renewable energy, and he would like to see that figure climb to 50% in short order. Speaking of the latest development at Red Stripe, Holness emphasized the role of the government in supporting the private sector to achieve greater investments in a seamless manner.
We are here to support, to create the facilitating, enabling, and seamless environment so that you can engage in projects that will repatriate your production capacity, substitute for local raw material, and make long-term investments in renewing your capital equipment.
With the introduction of the close to $18 million production line, Red Stripe, which is a part of the Heineken company, will be able to further expand its export capabilities to produce 40,000 bottles per hour and 26,000 cases of beer per day, exclusively for its growing global markets. Ground was broken for a 37-megawatt solar plant recently. 8 Rivers Energy Company will construct the plant at Paradise Park in Westmoreland. The $60 million solar plant will be the largest of its kind in Latin America and the Caribbean. The project will further enhance the diversification of Jamaica's energy sources. Energy Minister Andrew Wheatley says the country is on the right path to more clean, affordable energy. The energy from the plant will be sold to the Jamaica Public Service for 8.53 US cents, but Mr. Wheatley expects this to be lowered.
This 8.53 US cents per kilowatt hours is the lowest in the region. Lowest in the region. And I'm sure once we have completed the IRP and we go back to market with a couple of RFPs, you will see and we anticipate even lower prices. Again, not only because we are setting a trend, but we know that the technology will afford us to be able to supply cheaper electricity to the consumers.
Tax Administration Jamaica, TAJ, has collected approximately $45 million in the first 3 weeks of its second traffic ticket amnesty. That's according to TAJ Communications Director Maris Horton. The amnesty allows persons with outstanding traffic tickets issued between September 1, 2010 and October 31, 2017 to pay them without repercussions up to January 13, 2018. The previous amnesty period, which ran from August 2 to October 31, resulted in the collection of more than $590 million from the processing of more than 260,000 tickets. Ms. Horton is encouraging members of the public not to wait until the last minute to make use of the latest amnesty. She's also calling on people to utilize the TAJ's online payment system. The Education Ministry has taken the primary exit profile, or PEP, on the road by hosting a town hall meeting in Kingston on Tuesday. The meetings will serve to heighten public awareness of the initiative, which is a new assessment of students at the primary level that will replace the Grade 6 Achievement Test, GSAT. The government wants a full rollout of the program in 2019. We have more in this report. PEP, which will consist of 3 components, a performance task, an ability test, and a curriculum-based test, is designed to provide an academic profile of the student, their strengths and weaknesses, and his or her readiness for grade 7. Education Minister Senator Ruel Reid said that PEP will allow for full placement of students in high school.
Assessment, as we talk about PEP, is not focused on placement. Right? I know parents are particularly interested in where your students are going. But it's quite interesting, as we roll out PEP next year, it will also coincide with the first time that we will place the entire cohort of students, 100% of our students, will be placed in a full high school as of next year. And in fact, we are not only talking about 5 years of education now, but we want every student to go right up to grade 13. So we're building our capacity. Years ago, when I was in primary school, we had 55,000 of us competing for then 11,000 high school places. And we are now, while the population have gone down to about 43,000, but at least we can say all 43,000 we can place in a full high school.
Minister Reid explained that PEP will be implemented on a phased basis, noting that the program will be piloted via students who are currently in grade 5 and will be the first PEP cohort. Students of the targeted cohort are being trained on assessing the 21st century learner, interpreting and scoring rubric, and administrating the performance task. A natural question is, why is GSAT being replaced? Manager of the Student Assessment Unit, Terry-Ann Thomas Gale, explains.
Why would we need to change? There was absolutely nothing wrong with GSAT, right? The change came about as a result of the change in the curriculum. For assessment to be valid, reliable, and to serve its purpose, we have to change assessment to match that of the curriculum. So the National Standards curriculum is new, and so we have to change the assessment to align the assessment to this new curriculum.
But is enough time being allowed for the transition from GSAT to PEP? Will the piloted 2018 cohort be too short a turnover period to correct any possible issues for a full 2019 rollout? That's one of the concerns that came up.
I just want to be clear that when we, the grade 5 students currently, do the pilot in June of 2018, if there are any adjustments that need to be made based on the pilot, will there be enough time to make the adjustments to the question, whether it's restructure the question, ask it a different way, etc., repilot it to ensure that the changes that you've made to the way that you structure the questions work in time for the exam in 6 months' time, because they'll be coming back to school in September.
When we do piloting, we don't just pilot a handful of things,
okay,
and it is strategically done. So we pilot with different levels. We have several different forms that are sent out there. So we try to capture technically the entire span of students that we would have who could access. And we work with the ones that come back and come back done well. There are some items that when they come back, they don't necessarily need to be repiloted, but they need to be tweaked in a particular way based on the standard of the item that came back. And there could be enough time to do a repilot also, but because we do it and in such large numbers, in terms of, let us say we need 5 questions for the test, we're not going to pilot 5, we're going to pilot 60.
Okay.
You understand? So
yes.
we will have that wiggle room. It's a technical process that works.
Okay.
The PEP town halls are to be island-wide and are expected to run until January 21 next year. The Ministry of Labour and Social Security is to provide early payment of pensions for the Christmas holiday. The ministry says pension vouchers are payable from Monday, December 25 to Friday, December 29 may be encashed at post offices starting tomorrow. It says the National Commercial Bank, NCB, will only cash pension vouchers on or after the date they are payable. There has been an increase in calls to Crime Stop since the start of the year. In a statement Tuesday morning, Crime Stop said it received more than 860 calls. Crime Stop added that the remaining calls covered more than 40 different types of criminal activities. To date, Crime Stop said 55 persons have been held and charged with a variety of crimes, such as illegal possession of a firearm, murder, carnal abuse, and not so common a crime of sacrilege. 33 persons have been arrested and charged with selling illegal lottery tickets. The Firearm Licensing Authority is reporting a flood of responses following its extended amnesty to delinquent firearm holders to have their guns inspected and licenses renewed. The FLA decided to extend the amnesty last month after it emerged that more than 2,000 firearm holders were still not compliant. The amnesty will now end on December 29. Chief Executive Officer of the FLA, Shane Dalling, says there would be no further extension for firearm holders to have their licenses renewed. Jamaica is to increase its export of bananas to Trinidad with 3 shipments weekly. General Manager at the Banana Board, Janet Coney, says shipment will begin this week.
We are starting with 1 container each week. We have a contract for 6 months, but really the importer wants 3 containers on a weekly basis. We are trying to get the farmers to increase their production, increase their productivity, increase their quality management system so that we'll be able to supply this very good market.
The contract comes on the heels of a 200-ton increase in banana exports between 2015 and 2016. Earnings from 2016 were over 47 million Jamaican dollars. In regional news, in Guyana, President David Granger has assured thousands of sugar workers that they will receive severance pay when they lose their jobs at the end of the year. But opposition leader Bharat Jagdeo has offered a sweeter deal, promising the workers a monthly salary if he is voted into the leadership seat in the next general elections.
The Guyana Sugar Corporation, Gaisuku, will retrench an estimated 3,500 workers by the end of the year as part of a plan to restructure the sugar industry. The decision represents the largest cost-cutting measure to be undertaken by the corporation. Gaisuku currently needs an estimated $5 billion to cover severance packages for workers. Those workers would not be left empty-handed, as explained by President Granger when he addressed the media last Friday.
As far as the retrenchment benefits or the termination benefits are concerned, the government is responsible for ensuring that the Sugar Corporation fulfills its obligation to the workers.
Skeldon, Rose Hall, and Enmore estates would halt operations soon. The 3 estates at Albion in East Berbice, Blairmont in West Berbice, and Iflat on the west coast of Demerara are to remain active. The government has budgeted a subsidy of $6 billion in 2018 to sustain the operations of the active estates. But President Granger says a lot of work still needs to be done as far as the transition plans are concerned.
By the 4th agency, which I can call, or the 3rd agency, which I can call the Special Purpose Unit, which comes under the Ministry of Finance. And that is the agency that will be responsible for ensuring the smooth transition for those parts of the industry which will not be remaining in production under the Guyana Sugar Corporation.
The government has set up a special purpose unit to manage the divestment of the Sugar Corporation. The Special Purpose Unit has already chosen a firm to evaluate the assets of the corporation. The firm will be placed directly under the control of the unit.
So I would say that the work of the SPU is still being done. They are in negotiation not only with the Sugar Corporation, but also with foreign investors. And I expect that before too long we will have a plan which will explain in greater detail how the lands will be disposed of.
Over the weekend, opposition leader Barra Jagdeo traveled to Berbice, where he promised sugar workers there that he will be handing them a salary every month until proper plans are put in place, if they vote him back in office in 2020.
In the Bahamas, a probe has been ordered into the Water and Sewage Corporation following allegations of theft. We have the details from Janae Noel Ferguson of ZNS Network.
According to Chairman Adrian Gibson, a complaint was made after it's alleged that thousands of dollars went missing from the government-run entity.
They are reviewing a theft case, allegations of theft, and a few other matters, sensitive matters, based on what was stated to myself and the minister by way of myself. We determined to invite the police, and the police have been briefed by Internal Control and Compliance Division, and we anticipate the police to be simultaneously carrying out their investigation.
A forensic audit of the corporation is also underway that is expected to be completed soon. The chairman noted, however, that some executives remain on leave. He, however, could not say if the internal investigation and the forensic audit are linked to the same matters.
No one is on half pay. There were some persons who were sent on leave. I think it was about 5 persons. If I am not mistaken, 3 have returned to duty, and 2 remain on leave. I cannot tell you specifically if more suspensions would be forthcoming or not, but I can say to you that whatever is the outcome with respect to these reports, action will be taken. I can assure you of that. Action will be taken.
Now, Gibson said police began their work last week Thursday as both investigations continue.
Of course, everything has value. We're talking about thousands of dollars. But there's other sensitive matters that were offshoots of the investigation into the allegation of theft. And those are matters of grave concern as well. And some of them could be of a nature that warrant the police coming in.
In sports, we're batting with cricket. The West Indies made 248 for 9 in the first one-day international against New Zealand at Con Oval in Warringah on Wednesday. Opening batsman Evan Lewis top scored with 76 and Rovman Powell notched 59 late in the innings, while Chris Gale failed to fire with 22. Doug Bracewell was the pick of the New Zealand attack, taking 4 for 55, and spinner Todd Astle managed 3 for 33 on debut. And that's the news. Thanks so much for making it PBCJ. Remember, we are the People's Station.